I was in the United States Army for 8 years, an infantry officer. During the 2 years I spent in Iraq, you could categorize lots of the stuff we did as security, providing all kinds of security. Securing roofs was pretty much a daily thing, especially when you're down in the platoons. Rooftop security is something we did all the time. Anyone that was involved with anything related to infantry operations, any of us could sit there and look at what happened the other day with Trump and immediately see all kinds of things that don't make sense. And that's not a conspiracy. I'm just saying, you baffled?
Are you baffled by it? The attempted assassin had evidently almost 30 minutes from the time he was identified by some agents and some cops and people in the crowd to when he actually took the shot. Like, is that baffling? That was allowed to go on?
It's not. At this day and age, why would you be surprised by anything, any kind of incompetency? If the Secret Service, a government agency is assigned to protect Trump, I don't know why it'd be surprising that they fail. So no, I'm like everybody else, shocked. Shock is a different emotion. Yeah, like many people were shocked. But no, I've said before, it's a matter of time before these candidates or these politicians in general, they walk around and get selfies in their face with the cell phones. It's a matter of time before one of those blows up in their face or shoots them. So it shouldn't be surprising that the assassination attempt, and I think it's something like 10% of American presidents have been shot. And we could just cut straight to the chase. I mean, a lot of people, are asking, is the government in on it and stuff? Well, it's like, let's hold our horses. If some true evidence comes out of collusion, that's one thing, but it's like time out. These Secret Service, just like any other entity around this country and around the West and many parts of the world, is infected with all this DEI shit that everybody sees also. It's like, come on, let's put two and two together. Their standards are lowering. Their budget, if anything you could put at the, blame on anybody, maybe you could say, at the federal level under Biden, the Secret Service isn't funded enough to do the things that they really need to do. Okay, maybe there's a point there. But in terms of deliberate stuff, like them having tacit intent to leave holes in the security gap, I don't buy any of that. And on the left too, I mean, there's all kinds of Democrats saying that it was staged. No, screw all that. He staged the whole thing. I mean, it's like on both sides, you see people just going off the chain. Now, if anything, back to my military experience, a lot of people we met out there in Iraq. I spent 2 years in Iraq. I can only speculate at Afghanistan, but it's conspiracy central over there too. Mm-hmm. It's just a sign of sort of a collapsing societal infrastructure. Ours is a lot less. I'm not surprised that the Secret Service and then their contractors failed. No. And then if you look at the pictures, I mean, the card-carrying Secret Service agents that were female are on full display for everybody. I mean, all their inadequacies. I mean, if that's putting it mildly. Some
people I saw were pushing, because I brought that up online.
And that's DEI initiative.
But some people were pushing back, I should say, on that. I want to ask you about this. And they were saying that they did not observe that the female Secret Service agents performed worse than the males. What did you see?
Then I don't know what they were looking at or what they expect. I mean, I'm sure people have all kinds of opinions. But no, someone that understands what they're looking at, when you see the men covering the president and the females ducking, when you see the men instinctively, escorting him to the car, the woman sitting around can't holster her gun. I mean,
that was pretty bad.
This is all you could just see with your own eyes. And, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be some cop expert there. I would feel not even remotely worthy of being on the Secret Service. No, I mean, these should be, in my mind, it should be, like a friend of mine said, another military buddy of mine said, it should be people that have body counts that are doing this, which leads to another interesting point that, from what I understand, how the Secret Service, I mean, this gets into the whole who am I to sharpshoot these government agencies. But, at this point, we can use our brain. We can understand that all these agencies have been infected with the DEI cancer. The head of the agency is some overweight looking woman. And listen to what okay, that's fine. But then listen to her talk. They talk openly about they want to recruit more diversity.
She has said that was her top priority.
Yes, these are all public statements. This is not some conspiracy. And again, that's where I mind the conservatives that a lot of times I find myself agreeing with. It's not a conspiracy. It's in your face. They tell you all this stuff. But you watch the video. No, you see them cowering. They act like we all would act, actually, and that's the problem. We don't
Right.
want your average person up
Right.
there. That's the whole point. They're
Right.
acting like just like I would.
Right.
They were recovering from fire. They were instinctively doing normal infantry training.
Yeah.
But that's not, you know,
they're there to take a bullet.
they're there to take a bullet. I mean,
Right.
at least that's the whole pitch.
Right.
That's
Right.
what's sold to the. And if you look at the before and after 1981 with Reagan, and when that reaction, immediately guys are busting out Uzis. He's surrounded. You don't even see him.
Mm-hmm.
You can barely see him getting shoved into the car. With Trump, it's like she hides. You know, they wait a while, and I get it that Trump was asking for his shoes and all, and then he did the hand fist. But still, on top of that, you see a lot of just waiting around. A lot of
right,
and it doesn't
disorientation.
Seemingly disoriented. The first incompetency that we can see was the fact that they allowed the guy to even get the shot off. You know,
right.
Never mind what happened when there was contact.
Let me ask you about that, actually, because there have been some people pushing back to the narrative that he should have been stopped much earlier, and they say, well, look, it's legal to carry guns. Right. And so, but wait, we can't just shoot people just because they're at a rally with a gun on a roof doing
at a presidential. No,
I think that you, along with a lot of us, believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone gunman in the JFK situation. So you would concede that it's not just like crazy for people to think that our government hates Trump. We know that the bureaucracy does, right? And so you've got this bureaucracy that's already tried to get him with the basically the Russia collusion hoax that was disproved, and the media actually never came back and corrected that or apologized for that whole thing. And so I guess my question is it really crazy for people? And I'm not a proponent of the conspiracy theory. I think it's incompetence too, but you would concede it's not that crazy for people to think.
When the JFK, I mean, I think, yes, if there seems to be between the mafia stuff, the connections, and their ability to reach in there and then get a guy to kill the assassin.
Who was ex-military.
And then who was ex-military. Yeah, you know, and that's peak, I think, honeymoon of World War II in our power.
Military-industrial complex peak.
I mean, it's peak after World War II, within 20 years of our victory of that, and just peak power and our ability and video and information not widespread. Versus now, I mean, and ever since then, really, information. So I don't know. Anything's possible. Yeah. So there are grand conspiracies sometimes, but also so much is just incompetency. Right. So much. Right. And so you can't, just stop, just immediately go to that and discount the incompetency. That's all I'm saying. And then if you use your eyeballs and look, you see incompetency. And so, especially with the women, especially with the fact that,
And by the way, the critique I just want to say of DEI that I think you're making is not just that there are unqualified women in a number of positions, but also that when as an institution, you emphasize cultural issues like that, like diversity, you don't have as much time or money to emphasize the things that are more central to your mission.
Well, you get more of what you focus on, and so it trickles down. I think, and again, we could see it with our own eyes. I don't have to sit here and speculate on this stuff as some parlor game. You can see it with your own eyes. That's now the face of modern Secret Service is this image of this woman that can't even it comes up to his chest, trying to protect and ducking first. And even as she's walking him out, that photo that is now being passed around everywhere, she's ducking, so it is what it is. You see it. And then the other one, then I think it was the other lady, bless her heart, trying to holster her weapon after that.
Repeatedly.
So we see it with our own eyeballs. It's not some parlor discussion. You can watch the other examples of previous Secret Service. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but it's a big deal. It's why we're sitting here talking. It's why half the world all of a sudden is pausing what they're doing.
Right.
This is a big deal. Right. We don't generally like it when our political leaders are knocked off.
The director of the Secret Service apparently said that the reason why one reason that roof was not secured, one consideration would be because it was dangerous for agents to be up there.
It was too sloped. Yeah. And I know, again,
does that make any sense to you?
Again, that's the beauty of the information age. To me, it goes back to we're good at pointing technology at things and converting into video. And you can see with your own eyeballs that the two snipers right behind him are on the same slope.
Yeah.
So no, we don't need an expert. We don't need an expert.
That she's making
people. People. Bullshit is probably a good technical word for it. Yes.
I've seen a couple of people online asking questions like, for instance, why would Trump just get barely barely a wound there. Shouldn't an AR-15, someone online said, have vaporized him? Like obliterated him? Like we see these big guns, right?
Well, make no mistake, I think if his head was turned, I mean, there are such thing as close calls. I think we witnessed it. Some people are going to call it a miracle. You know, if there is any such thing, you know, maybe that's about as close as you get. But no, I mean, there's such things as close calls.
Right.
Make no mistake, if it would have been a little farther turned, yeah, lots of his brain would have been vaporized. I mean, yeah, you know, is it going to blow up like a watermelon thing? No, I mean, people have all kinds of misunderstandings about these weapons.
All right, so let's talk about this weapon. Is it an AR gun?
It's an AR style. If you shorthand referred to it as an AR-15, you wouldn't be, you know, crazy. But technically, you know, AR stands for Amrolite Rifle 15. It's a brand. This is a style like an AR.
This is similar to what the shooter would have used. Yes.
Supposedly, I'm not going to say, I don't know all the details. I heard, like everybody else, it was an AR-15 style weapon. So it could be something like this. This has a bigger clip on it. It could be smaller. I don't know what he had. I don't even know what kind of scope he had. He was close enough, though. If he was a trained marksman, he should have been able to hit Trump. From my understanding, it's like 150 yards.
Apparently, he was not a good marksman.
He should have been able to hit that, you know, a target like that with just iron sights, much less an optical device. I don't know what he had. But anyway, it's basically just a really reliable, small caliber hunting rifle.
So I want to ask you this. You know, I know that you are, not to put words in your mouth, but I would think a pretty strong proponent of gun rights.
I think we should be able to own cannons.
Okay. I don't think we have room for that. But so look, I have a lot of friends who are very pro gun control, who will hate even the look of this on the screen right now. And they will say this, tell me what you would tell them. They will say, what the fuck does an average citizen, a normal person who's non-law enforcement, non-military, need with this over just a handgun or something?
Yeah, it's a stupid question, but you know, we'll answer those too. No, it's just like for any job, you have different tools. You have a wide range of tools. Again, to reiterate, AR does not mean automatic rifle. Most of them do not shoot automatic. Some of them in the military used to shoot 3-round bursts.
So it's not going to go pop, 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 pop.
It's not going to go. Drrr, you got to squeeze the trigger each time. So it's really just
no different than a handgun in that way.
In that way, yes. A handgun is for, you know, to be around carrying with your hand, and in circumstances where you want to conceal it and stuff. This is something where you don't care about concealing anything. But again, you know, why do we have weapons? It's not just about hunting. These have all kinds of excellent hunting characteristics. I take it hog hunting. Many people use it for hunting or other weapons. It's not it's a small caliber hunting weapon. It's not like the biggest weapon, but also they have it to prevent, you know, lawlessness, to prevent, you know, protect their homestead, protect against the government if the government tries to fuck with them, etc.
And people like to say, by the way, I know you've heard this, people like to say, how could a bunch of citizens armed with stuff like this defend against a government that has nuclear weapons? To which you always remind them, Afghanistan, Vietnam, all of these situations, right, where by and large, what gave us problems and we gave a lot of the big conquerors, so to speak, problems, is ordinary citizens with these weapons, right?
Small arms.
Right.
Yes, like this categorically, just small arms in general. No, it just shows people don't study history. They don't study any of it. They watch movies every now and then. They don't study any of it. They have no clue, and not just history, but what contemporary war that's going on. The people that wrote the Constitution, if you give a shit about this stuff, they certainly knew what they were talking about with that statement in the Constitution. They meant to arm themselves with the same weaponry that they fought against. And it's just, you know, it just shows that people don't read history. They don't care. You don't have to be political. That's not a Republican, Democrat thing. It's just, they just don't care about stuff that happened before they're born, really. And especially if it's on the other side of the world or in another region, they just don't care. Because if you did care and you read that stuff, that, yeah, you would see it doesn't matter what the difference. And you mentioned nuclear weapons. The government's not stupid. They're not going to nuke a town for rebelling. I mean, you know, both sides have limitations.
Right.
And both sides have natural limitations that war sort of forces on entities.
Right.
It's not like both sides can just do whatever they want.